Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So guys, in today's video, we are going to understand what is the respiratory balance sheet and what is the respiratory quotient. And we'll also understand why this complete process of respiration, why this respiratory pathway is also known as amphibolic pathway. So we'll understand this as well. Before we start off, guys, if you are new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to it and press the bell icon to get all the notifications. And yes, please do give your feedback in the comment section of the video. So guys, let's start with the respiratory balance sheet first. So before we start off with the respiratory balance sheet, we'll have to understand and just once at last revise the entire respiratory pathway. So first thing that we noticed in the pathway is that it is a sequential process, right? So this sequential process starts with a substrate which enters into the pathway starting with glycolysis. Then this goes to the TCA cycle or the Krebs cycle, which further moves to the electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation, and we get multiple products in between. We basically get energy in the form of NADH, FADH2, and directly as ATP. So this first thing is it is a sequential process. The second thing that we got to know is that the NADH synthesized in glycolysis is transferred into the mitochondria, and this NADH undergoes oxidative phosphorylation. So basically, NADH is a molecule which yields energy, but it cannot directly produce energy. So that is why it is basically somehow changed into ATP, which is the direct source of energy, right? So basically now the NADH, which is synthesized during glycolysis, goes into oxidative phosphorylation. Third thing that we notice is that none of the intermediates which is present in the pathway are utilized to synthesize any other compound. So none of the intermediates in the pathway are actually directly synthesized, right? This is the third thing. The fourth thing that we understood is that only glucose is being respired. No other alternative substrates are entering in the pathway at any intermediary stages. So the one substrate which is being utilized or respired is glucose. Only glucose is being respired. Now let us understand what we understood about the respiratory and aerobic respiration. So we also understood the anaerobic respiration, which was through fermentation. Now fermentation, if we talk about fermentation, fermentation accounts only for a partial breakdown. So in fermentation, there is partial breakdown of glucose. While if we talk about aerobic respiration, there is complete breakdown of glucose. Then in fermentation, we get two molecules of ATP. We get two ATP molecules for each molecule of glucose. So from one molecule of glucose, we get two molecules of ATP, right? This is basically for each molecule of glucose which is degraded to pyruvic acid. Now, whereas more molecules of ATP, a lot more molecules of ATP are generated under aerobic conditions. Third thing is NADH here in fermentation is oxidized to NAD plus. Rather, this happens slowly in fermentation, very slowly. Whereas this is very fast and vigorous in the case of aerobic respiration. So these are basically three different point of views that we saw in fermentation and aerobic respiration. Now let's understand why this process of respiration is known as amphibolic pathway. So basically amphibolic pathway is the pathway which involves breakdown as well as synthesis of molecules. So basically both the things are happening, anabolism and catabolism. So amphibolic is basically anabolism plus catabolism. Right. So let's talk about glucose first. We saw that carbohydrates, what is happening? Glucose or fructose is getting changed into what? Pyruvic acid or pyruvate. And that again gets broken down into coenzyme, basically acetyl coenzyme, which goes into the cycle of the Krebs, right? So Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle. And after that, there is an electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. So basically, in between the processes, what is happening is a six carbon compound is broken down into three carbon compound. From that, again, we make six carbon compound. Again, we break it down into different carbon compounds, right? So we are basically breaking down bonds and making some as well. Now let's move to fatty acids. Again, fatty acids would be broken down to acetyl coenzyme before entering the respiratory pathway, where it is used as a substrate. Now, when the organism needs to synthesize fatty acids, again acetyl coenzyme would be withdrawn from the respiratory pathway and it will be taken up. So again, we are breaking down coenzyme A and synthesizing it again when needed. This happens with proteins as well, guys. So we break down proteins and we synthesize proteins if required. So basically, in all of these process, there is breakdown of something and then synthesis if required as well. And these are the two processes which is basically breakdown and synthesis, which is anabolism and catabolism. And that is why we consider the respiratory pathway as an amphibolic pathway. Right. So I'll explain the same thing in the form of a flow chart as well, guys. Right. So consider it as a flow chart. Say we have fat molecules, we have carbohydrates, and we have proteins. This is basically fatty acid and glycerol. So I can break it down. Right. Here it can be broken down into simple sugars, for example, glucose. And proteins can be broken down into amino acids. Right. Now this glucose gets into the glycolysis. It forms glucose 6 phosphate. It forms fructose 1,6 bisphosphate. Then it forms di dihydroxyacetone phosphate and it can be interconverted into glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. right? Now this changes into pyruvic acid, which is the end product of glycolysis. It combines and forms acetyl coenzyme A, and it enters into the Krebs cycle. And here we have carbon dioxide and water released finally, and it is basically consumed in the form of energy in the form of ATP molecules, right? So basically what is happening is this fatty acid and glycerol is also getting converted as acetyl coenzyme A, remember this, and amino acids also are involved in the formation of pyruvic acid. So there is breakdown and synthesis of various products in the in between pathway, right? This is going here again, right? That is why we consider this entire process as an amphibolic process. Now let's understand the last topic, which is respiratory quotient. What exactly is respiratory quotient? Now, as respiratory quotient is basically nothing but the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide which is evolved upon volume of oxygen which is consumed, right? So basically it is the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide evolved to the volume of oxygen consumed, and since it is a respiratory quotient, this we measure in the entire process of respiration. So this evolved CO2 evolved to oxygen consumed in respiration is the respiratory quotient or respiratory ratio. Now, this depends upon the type of respiratory substrate which is present during respiration. Say, for example, when carbohydrates, remember now, when carbohydrates are used as substrate and they are completely oxidized, the respiratory quotient becomes 1. So basically, this becomes equal to the amount of carbon dioxide and oxygen which are involved and consumed respectively, right? So this becomes 1 because we have glucose plus 6 molecule of oxygen, and then 6 molecule of carbon dioxide is released, right? So here the ratio will be 6 molecule of carbon dioxide divided by 6 molecule of oxygen, so it becomes 1, right? Now say when fats, let's talk about fats. Now when fats are used in respiration, this respiratory quotient is said to be less than 1. Why? See here there is a molecule of fat, right? This is a tripalmitin, and when this is consumed in respiration, we require 145 molecules of oxygen. And what we get is 102 carbon dioxide and 98 water. And then energy is released. If you calculate here the respiratory quotient, it will be 102 carbon dioxide divided by 145 oxygen, and it will come about zero point 0.7, so it is less than 1. So in the similar manner, basically if you use other fats as well, you'll see that this will always be less than 1. So we'll have to remember, for carbohydrates it is equal to 1, for fats it is less than 1. Now if we talk about protein as well, when we calculate for proteins, the ratio is again less than but 1, but is somewhat greater than what it is for fats. So it comes about almost zero point 0.9, right? So now very important fact is that, in living organisms, the respiratory substrates are basically more than one. But we always use carbohydrates as a preferable mode for respiration. We use carbohydrates as a preferable substrate during respiration. So guys, with this we have finished off the chapter, which is chapter 14, right? And in the next video we are going to start off with a new chapter. I hope you would have understood this chapter completely. If yes, please do like the video and share it with your friends. If you have any doubt, please do ask all your doubts in the comment of the video. And guys, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get all the updates, all the notifications. Thanks for watching this video, guys. See you till then. Take care. Bye bye.